Okay, coming to the settings, what we need to do in thin client. So the first thing is we need to create the design workflows. So I've just created MRP2 auto schedule. Okay. In the design workflow, we need to have one flow relating to sales order and one flow relating to purchase order. So when I say relating, one of the document should be relating to sales order here like this. So whichever document is linking to the sales order, that order will be input for MRP2 planning. So you might have your own flow, let's say quotation, quotation to confirm quotation to order, confirm sales order, delivery note XYZ, all the flow, whatever you want. But whichever document you want to pick for production planning, that you have to link it relating to sales order. So there is possibility that you can have multiple links. Let's say you have domestic sales order, you have import sales order, export sales order, like that. So all those three document voucher, if you want to get into planning details, the planning engine, then you can select it related to sales order. Likewise, it is applicable for purchase also. So I've just taken a sample flow for the presentation. So my purchase flow starts with material requisition, purchase order, and material receipt note. So I have linked material requisition and purchase order relating to purchase order. It means whatever transaction I'm posting, procurement request I'm posting from MRP2 will be linked to material requisition, and whatever material requisitions are there, so system is going to consider that as virtual stock. Let's say you have got a dependent requirement of 10 quantity, but you have raised a material requisition of 100. So in the next iteration, system will assume that there is 90 more excess stock which should come, which would be coming. So which is there in the material requisition. Though it is still in material requisition, MRP2 consider it as a virtual stock available. So this is purchase flow. Why we are doing this purchase flow relating to purchase and sales order, I have explained. And next thing is that, so we have got settings wizard. So we have got MRP1 and MRP2. As I said, like whichever is applicable, you have to update that, whichever you want, MRP2 and 1. Okay, so initially it will give you some text message. Once you update it, whenever you are reopening, it will say MRP2 enabled on this company. Okay, after this, so you have to select the account tag, inventory tag. So this is mandatory. And once after you update your MRP2, okay, once the settings wizard you update MRP2, then you will get a menus get created with respect to the MRP2 application. So if you have basic production, you will not find this planning, all these things. Okay, MRP settings also there are limited options. So in MRP1, so you will have planning, but with some limited options. So for MRP2, you will have extensive menus. Okay, it gets created. This is the first thing you have to observe, whether MRP2 menus, I mean, whether the company has been upgraded with MRP2 or not. Functionalities. Okay, so now master data and all, like, so as you know that we are going to have an item master. Item will be created, and MRP2 is basically like it will handle material planning as well as machine planning. So in the earlier versions we have seen basic production without any planning. So material planning will also be not there. In MRP1 there is material planning, but there is no machine planning. So here we are covering both material and machine planning. So the masters, the basic master for MRP2 is that work center master. So I have created a few samples of work center masters. I'll just edit one and I'll show you. Okay, so this is how it is. Like we have option to give the name of the work center, code for the work center. Basically, what is a work center? Work center is something so which you want to schedule. So because like there are multiple activities that takes place in the manufacturing unit. So for whichever you want to schedule, maybe a machinery, a real-time machinery, let's like cutting machine or welding machine, punching machine, like that, or sometimes what happens, an activity will be carried by the labor. So, but though we have to calculate the schedule of the process, so whichever you want to schedule, so whichever process you want to schedule, so that scheduling will be done for a work center. Okay, so we have got categories here, which is machine or labor. This is just for our information whether this work center is of what category. And apart from that, you have got a personal, responsible, location. These are all additional fields. If you want to tag information to this work center, you can have it. It is nothing is mandatory here. Okay, and here if you can see, we have got issuing warehouse. So this is common in the earlier also. Like what happens is that issuing warehouse, whatever activity you are doing. Okay, so if you are doing any activity on this work center, from which warehouse you want system to pick raw material. The system you wanted to allow raw material to be issued to this work center. So this is just preloading of the raw material warehouse. So if you want to change, you can change runtime. So it simply preloads the raw material, I mean issuing warehouse details when you are doing consumption entries. Similarly, after the work is done, so into which warehouse you want to receive the output, that can be selected here. And we have got some min capacity and max capacity. These fields are additional fields which are useful only for what is that manual scheduling. So this is not related to automatic scheduling. So I just want to skip that at this point. And here you have outsource option. So why we are using this outsource option? See, within the manufacturing cycle, we might have in-house activities as well as outsource activities. So and there is a sequence, like first is in-house, second is outsourced, third is in-house. Okay. So in order to maintain the timelines for the outsourced items, and further down we need to plan our in-house production. So we are maintaining our outsourced work centers also. So in terms of outsourcing work centers, it would be number of hours and number of days. Maybe whenever you are outsourcing, it might take your default vendor might take 1 day or 2 days of lead time to return back your work. So whatever is the value, you have to keep it while defining the routing. Okay, moving on to the next tab. Like here, we are going to define the processing formulas. So the timelines involved on using when you are using this particular work center. So here, if you can observe, like if you can look into, so there is set of formulas. So all the formula nomenclature, what we are defining here is nothing but the time frames on this particular machine. So setup time. So if there is any setup time involved to run this machine, you can define. So usually what happens when you are planning huge ovens or heaters, okay, which will melt metals and all. So what happens is there will be some setup time in order to run the machine, start the machine. Maybe 15 minutes to half an hour it takes time to heat the machine. Only then the actual production starts. So in that scenario, you can use this setup formula. Sometimes what happens, like when you are making a certain part, when you are arranging machine, I mean one product to a different product, so you will have some setup time. So those setup times, if you want to calculate, then you can give setup formula. Okay, and processing formula is nothing but the actual time taken to for the production. Let's say if it is a cutting example, I'm taking the cutting. So you can cut 10 pieces in 1 hour, maybe for product. You can cut 20 pieces in the same 1 hour product. So depending on the type of the material, it would take different, it would give you different production capacity. So that is the reason why. So I have option to use this particular work center for multiple material production items. So I'm just taking it with a variable. So I'll explain you in detail when I'm taking you through routing. So for now, I would say give you a statement that for every work center, we have got 7 variables. So I'll just show you here 7 variables we have got. So these 7 variables can be used as per the convenience of the user. Okay. Now here, if I elaborate this, I have mentioned QTY divided by STA. So what is the STA? I have named it in this work center is that production capacity per hour. It means that QTY is the planning quantity, which is fixed, and STA I have assumed it to be production capacity per 1 hour. So depending on these values, okay, so respective to the with respect to the product, so system will calculate how many number of hours is required to complete the production, or during the planning it will suggest you. Okay, and you have got tear down time, cool down time. So what is importance of this? So I'll explain you this with an sample example. So let us say you're packing some liquid items. Let's say paint. I'll paint. Okay. So what happens is once you put in all your raw materials, so within 1 hour the paint gets ready. So the oven capacity is, let's say, 1,000 liters. So the 1,000 liters of paint is ready within an hour. So the production time is processing time is 1 hour. So once after 1 hour, immediately you cannot use that oven for the next production order, because the paint need to be unloaded and packed into respective packing sizes. So the time taken after production until completion of the completion of the packing. So the time difference is nothing but your tear down from the packing the first packet output to the last packet. What I mean to say. Okay, this is tear down formula. So if my production is 1 hour and there is a 15 minutes of packing time, or making that machine available for the other process, is nothing but your tear down formula. So what is cool down formula? So let us say you have got one process, multiple process. So process one would take like 2 hours, but after that process, you cannot immediately schedule your further down process. So you need to have certain waiting period. Let's say this waiting period sometimes might not be for machine. Let's say you are using machine one and machine two. Okay, so your machine one work is done, and if you want to move to the second machine, there is a waiting time. Okay, this is for product, not for the machine. Okay, to continue the second process, system will consider the cool down time, and it schedules like first 1 hour like 10 to 11. So if there is 2 hours of waiting time, the next subsequent process starts after 2 hours of completion of the first process. That is the idea about cool down time. And you have got costing formula. So our ERP, what it does is that by default we are assuming raw material cost into production cost. So if you want to have any other overheads, let's say labor cost, over machine cost, miscellaneous cost, or production overheads, all those things, if you want to include, you can include. Okay. So again, I'm using STP and STC as my variable. So what I assume against this work center for STB and STC. I said, like I mentioned here, standard labor cost is STB, standard overhead cost is my STC, which means QTY into standard per piece cost I'm assuming. So this assumption of STA variable names is purely depending on user convenience. There's no, you have to follow certain nothing. So, but we recommend that for first value should be with respect to the machine capacity. Okay, and here you have got in the under default routing values, you have got default value for ST. Okay, let us say why we have given this option. So I have got a machine, so I am dealing with the same different metals. Let's say I'm taking example of cutting. So cutting all the different metals what I produce will take same time. So there is no difference. So in that case, I can preload some value here. Let's say if I put 10, means if I for STA if I'm keeping 10, it means that production capacity per hour is 10. This value 10 will be automatically preloaded when you are creating a routing. Okay, that is the functionality of this. And apart from this, you can also have skill set attached. This is just an information so that the floor manager or production manager will make sure respective skill sets are arranged on that particular. We are not planning any, we are not doing any labor planning, so that is not part of our focus MRP. So for now, so we don't have that. So, but we have option to attach the skill set as an information. Let's say I require cutting CNC cutters or laser machine cutters. So maybe 2 people. I need forklift operators, 2 people. So all the skill sets can be attached here. Okay, this is the basic master what we have for MRPT. So I think it is clear now. It is clear, and I'll move on to the bill of material in MRPT. Okay. So bill of material is we have placed under masters. So bill of material stated I can just open one bill of material. I have just made for the same example, share again, so that we can have values, everything same here. So here you can see just it is same structure like I have got input tab, output tab. Okay, and I can give multiple hierarchy. I can create multi hierarchy bill of material also. So for share, I have taken lower sheet as production item again, which requires item 1 and item 2. So these are direct raw materials I have taken. So here we have an option just to overview. If you want to look at like how much quantity is required for 100 pieces, so it will just have an idea, and also you can export this. Okay, so that will be exported. So bomb exploded view we are exporting to Excel. Okay, bomb quantity. Okay. So the bomb exploded view will export the bill of material. Okay. Now coming to, I mean, we have seen create variants. I have already explained in my previous session that why variants are created. So if you want to maintain multiple bill of materials within the same BOM just for reference, then you can just create a variant here. Okay, so creating a variant or defining a BOM is one and same. It is a different form for system, but only thing is you can view if you create a new variant here. Let's say I'm creating var1, so it gets created automatically in the same interface, in the same BOM, same parent BOM. You can just view all the variants. But for system, it is this is a different form. This is a different form. Okay, it might be for same item or it might be for a different item. And apart from that, we have this is customize option. Okay, so we have given customize option here in MRP2 thin client. So you can add header fields as well as body fields. So by default, we are giving this. So BOM name, BOM code, BOM type, and description. These are the default fields. If you want to add any additional information with respect to customer requirement, so you can add that in the customize option. Okay, authorize and propagate. So what means authorization? Authorized BMs and what is authorized and propagated? So let's say today you have got one BOM, and tomorrow you're making some changes in the BOM, and whenever you change, so it will go for authorization. It will ask whether to authorize. So once the bill of material is authorized, it means that you will during the planning you will have option to select all the from the authorized bill of materials. Okay, so what is authorize and propagate? So there is an option it will system will give you. Do you want to authorize and propagate? It means that it will be authorized as well as considered to be default BOM from now on. Okay, that's the option, and you have got import and export bill of material. So whatever format you are going to export, in the same format you have to import the data. So this exporting. So export. Okay, this is the format it is going to export. So you have got two fields here, BOM header and BOM body sheets. So respectively, if you just create some other data and it gets imported, you can use the same format. There is no specific format to be defined. Okay, so this is all about bill of material. So now I'll move on to routing and I'll explain in detail like what routing is and all. Okay, now routing, coming to the routing, so wherein we are going to define our machine planning, how my sequence of steps are to be done. So what are the stages of my production, everything will be taken care in routing. Okay, so routing, so here if you can see I have created a BOM, sorry, it's a mistake, like I have named it BOM. So for chair routing, so just to understand, I have added the same name. So we need to link the bill of material, okay, for which BOM you wanted to make this routing, okay. And here you will have option to add the process. Okay, I'll add a dummy one, just routing. You can name it anything. Let's say low velocity I'm taking. Okay, now so here it will open a pop-up when you add a process. So what is your first step? So let's say I've got all the process information as a master. So let's say first process is my cutting. So in which work center you wanted to do this cutting? What is the relevant work center for this? So here you can select an individual work center or else a group of work centers. So when you are going to select group of work centers, because if you do not know which one would be available at that particular time, okay, so you are going to select the group, okay, and with respect to the, so the moment you select the group, system will auto load all the individual work centers within that group. You can give this production capacity per hour, standard labor cost, standard overhead for individual machines. If there is difference, you can mention difference value. If it is all same, you can just directly preload from the master. As I said, you can define the work center master. Okay, now I have selected a work center. In this, you have option to attach document. So this can be a drawing, this can be a text, this can be instructions, or it can be a JPG image. Anything you can just add it, and at the time of processing, you can just view. At any point of time, you can view and see the document. Okay. So here, if you can see the moment you select the work center, the respective standard variables are displaying here. So as per our assumption. So for work center one, I have assumed my STA to be production capacity per hour. So I'm going to give, okay, for this particular product logo sheet, production per capacity is 200. So if I'm using the same machine for multiple product production, so this values would change, may or may not be, it depends on the business. Okay, and I'll just take you to PRT later on. So it will display all the list of raw materials from the bill of material. Let's say I've got two items here. So you may partially select some of the quantity, or also you can select total quantity. Okay, so you can do this. Okay, so here in MRP to thin client, you need to select this, and if you add, automatically a link get created. So in the older versions, we used to have a right click option. Okay, I'm selecting different one. So just gives common options here. Okay, here if you click on pick item, so it automatically loads the default item. Here you can see the link got automatically created. If you are not clicking this and selecting this, so it will not create a link. So this is how you will define your routing. Okay, and you can have multiple outputs also, as we discussed in the last session. You can have multiple outputs. Everything is defined here. So let's say after first process, you may get the byproduct. Okay, one of the multiple outputs from the VM, you can get it in the first process also. So if you are getting any process in between, any intermediate item which you wanted to maintain the inventory and wanted to issue as a new item in the next process, you will have option to do that. Okay. And not only that, so we have for routings, you can have multiple routings for the same bill of material. So it is obvious that we have multiple techniques to do same production. So you can create multiple routings with respect to the quantity you are producing. Okay, so how it is differing by quantity? Let's say you have got multiple machines, okay, cutting machines only. So when your order is from 0 to 100, maybe you would use a small machine. Or when your order to be produced is maybe in thousands, you might not use this small machine. You have a high capacity machine. So with respect to the production quantity, if you want to define, so you have option here. So whenever you are planning based on the production quantity, system will auto fix the routing. So if you are defining here, okay, not only this, so you have got template. Let's say I'll open the chair beyond. So this is the sequence of order. Let's say first activity is assembly, second activity is assembly to third activity is finishing. So this is my activity. This particular activity is common across many products in my manufacturing unit. So what I'll do is, so I'll just load the template. Okay, for that I need to create a room. So okay, just name a bomb, name a routing. Okay, routing one. Okay, and select a bill of material and load the template. Okay, so I've got one template saved. Okay, so immediately it gets loaded. The same activities gets loaded. Okay, so here you will get the inputs as per the BOM what you have selected in the header. So the sequence of steps are copied from the template, but each and every process-wise input should be given by user here. So here everything is copied. These values might not be same, so everything will be copied. Okay. Okay, this is all about routing. What we have. If you're okay with the masters part, like I'll move on to the uh, process flow, because this is where like master definition need to be clear. Okay. So the next step would be you are going to plan for MRP. So this planning of MRP will be done for multiple orders, maybe a forecast order, or maybe a sales order, or maybe a planned independent order. So only the difference is that sales order will have customer reference, forecast will be based on the previous sale or any analysis part, and planned independent order is independently you are just entering a order. You can see planned independent. I'll add one order here for you. So chicken chair, within 10 pieces with the delivery date, like let's say 20 seconds. So I'm saying, so this is one cell, one planned independent order. So I'll show you the navigation for MRP planning screen. The production planner will come to the screen. Okay. MRP process. So we'll select a date range. So you can just select manually to any date. So within the date range, you can load the details. You can load the list data which need to be planned. Okay. Or further down, you can just filter on customer also. So if it is customer A, you can see only sales order one is coming. Okay. So customer B, I don't think customer B, there is no data. Customer C, you can see. If you want to clear some random data pick, so here I will get all the items. So further down, this filter is available on product as well as customer. Okay. Now I'll just take one order, sales order one. Okay. And the first step is same, like you're going to define your production lot, which is nothing but production batch size. Again, this production batch size is depending on the order policies, which we have seen in the last presentation. In MRP1, we have seen how order to order or lot to lot or reorder policy things will be calculated. So it is same. Okay. And I'll just take some sample quantity of 10. So I've got 250 quantity, 50 quantity plan, total plan. So I'm just planning for 10 quantity. So now my lot breakup, I have given a manual input, but this can be automated with from product reference. And next thing is scheduling preferences. So we have got two types of scheduling: forward scheduling and backward scheduling. In in the version of automatic system generated schedules. Okay. So backward schedule follows as late as possible production or just in time or least warehouse plan. I mean, it will follow these three rules. Okay, so backward schedule considers when to be delivered. Let's say you have to deliver it in, by 30th of May. Okay, so what is the buffer time you would like to keep for production? Let's say 5 days. It means customer delivery date is 30th, then your internal delivery date would become 25th of May. So this is the buffer what you have mentioned for the product. And coming to that, let's say there is 4 to 5 days of production that is going to take place. So what the system does is that it will suggest you to start by 20th, so that would be completed by 25th, so that it can be delivered by 30th, assuming all the possible, I mean, better scenarios. Okay, as late as possible, system will suggest. Provided, let's say from 21st to 25th, if there is already some schedules been done on a specific mission, then it will push to the next possible number, which is 19, 18, 17. So from backward, it is going to push your schedule and suggest you to start your schedule. Okay, this is the concept of backward scheduling. Okay, let us say there is a scenario that you have got a sales order. So with 20th April as delivery date, and you have got, as we discussed, like 5 days for buffer, so which you cannot keep that statement. The system will say that schedule is not possible. Either you have to go and change the delivery date, or you have to continue with exceeding the delivery date. That is something messages will be given. Okay, so user can take a call on that. So in case of forward, the concept is that so user will be giving a specific start date, and system will check the best availability of the machine, and it is going to schedule the machine. So what is the difference, and where to use backward scheduling and where to use forward scheduling? So if a company or a client production environment is completely organized, okay, and they have fixed schedules to run, and they have raw materials will be supplied, will be taken care, okay, will be procured and taken care, always available. So in that case, only machine planning is very much important rather than material planning, because material can be procured in any means. If that these are the scenarios of your customer business, then you can go for backward scheduling, because in backward scheduling, system will not cross-check the availability of the raw material. It will only, the first agenda is to cross-check the machine availability. Once the machine is available, it says that okay, you can start from so and so date, so that you can end on so and so date, and you can deliver it to the customer within the deliverable time. Okay, and now with this start date, a day before, system is going to push a request. If raw material is not available in the stock, it is going to request a procurement request to the ERP team. Now ERP team or procurement team should take care of procuring it within that time. So production manager, production planning will not have any, any foreseeing of whether the material can be received within the time or not. So they don't consider all those things. Whereas forward scheduling is something. So even though if you ask system to start from tomorrow, okay, if there is no stock, okay, then it will initially checks if I order tomorrow, so by when is my raw material going to arrive based on the lead times. So from there, after let's say 5 days is lead time, so tomorrow you are going to order, so after 5 days you are going to reach your, you are going to get your raw materials. After that, it starts searching for the machine availability. So that is the concept. In forward scheduling, system will cross-check the availability of the raw material. It considers the lead, procurement lead time of the raw material, but only for default vendor. If you have multiple vendors, it won't search for all the vendors. It will take the default vendor and it will give you the tentative schedule, schedule as per the availability of the machine and this thing. So I was a bit elaborative on this, because if I explain this, I can show you in system later on. Okay, now let's say I'm selecting backward scheduling. So what happens? System checks for the raw material available, machine availability first. So that is why schedule and raise order. Okay, now my production order number got raised, which is PO13. Okay, and you can see work center 2, work center 3 are the work centers which are required to manufacture this chair. So I've got three process. One is assembly 1, assembly 2, and finishing. So if you can see, this is the first process. This is very less quantity, so it is showing you the same thing. Okay, and this is the second process. So in 1 hour, I said like 100 quantity I have given. So here it's difficult to identify. We'll plan 1 hour, 100 quantity in the next iteration, and we can see the schedule. So you can see this is the last process has been scheduled here. Before that, it is scheduling this process. Okay. So this is automatically generated by system. User will not have any option to change. Okay, we need to just go with the system's flow. Okay. Now, once our machine availability is done, then I'll just look into the raw material availability, whether I have raw material or not. Just an information for the production department. In this screen, we have given stock availability. If you have stock, system will automatically load the stock. You can see I have got logo sheet of 40 pieces. So this is of 1170. So respective quantities I have. So here, if you can look into some options, bomb explosion option. Okay, so you have got explode bill of material with default items, explode bill of material to select alternate. So if you have alternates for this, okay, so when you take this, it will give you an option to select alternate. Let's say why we wanted to do that, because I have an option to check the stock. Okay, so most of the companies production manager will take care of procurement. In that case, it will be very helpful for them, for him to cross check here itself. Okay, there is a limited stock which is he can't able to produce in default. Let's say he need 1,000, but he is having 95. Okay, he has to procure only 5. So that procurement might take maybe 1 month of time. So instead of that, he would select an alternate item if there is stock for that. So here, user can runtime dynamically change which item to select, and that too for this specific production order 30. So this will be applicable only for this order. Okay. So this is when you have. So what if there is no raw material? So you have two options to be chosen. One is raise a purchase request or raise dependent requirement. Okay, purchase request. I'll just open a duplicate company and I'll show you. Market preference, it is there. So in the preference, we have option to define our vouchers. So whatever activities you are taking care in MRP2, so need to be posted into ERP so that both the data are in sync. Okay, so whenever there is a transaction or material request, okay, from the production department, you can choose which ERP voucher it should post. Here I have selected material requisition. So when you select raise purchase request, then it will raise a material request. Okay, and you have got raise dependent requirements. So what is this dependent requirements is that, so usually what happens, multiple planning happens, and maybe this order I may require like lower sheet of 40 example. So in the other order I may require the same item of let's say 20 more. So instead of raising multiple procurement requests, we will have an option within the production department. They can club all such requirements and raise it as a single indent for production. So that is possible. So I'll show that. So I'm raising a dependent because we already have stock. So I don't think we can get anything dependent requirement. So here, once you click on MRP planning, so adjusted and raised quantity columns gets updated. So if you have stock, it will uh, get reserved. If you don't have stock, it gets raised. If you can see here for 10 quantity, I already have intermediate item available in the inventory. So I need not to plan for item 1 and item 2. Here, if you can see actual quantity, adjusted quantity is 10 for lower set, which is intermediate item, and nothing is been adjusted or raised for item 1 and item 2 because I already have intermediate directly. So for rest of the items, so it got reserved from the stock. Okay, now I click on finish. So it will move on to the same landing screen. So let's quickly take you to one more order to show proper scheduling. So here you can see. So this is first process. Okay, after the time it is taking the second process, if you can see, and this is the third process. Okay, three different processes. Okay, and again this is same because I have huge stock and now it is taking back to the same screen. Now I'll just quickly show you one sample of forward schedule. I'll just show you for this. Okay, I'm taking some 50 quantity. So I'll select forward scheduling and MRP planning. Now when I say schedule and raise order, is by default forward. One second. I'm not taking here. So this is again a preference based. So which one you want to be backward scheduling or forward scheduling? This works automatically by this. And we have got master production schedule also. Okay. So here you'll not get any schedule there because if you are updating something in preference, you have to close the screen and open. Okay. So here scheduling engine didn't come up. So because scheduling will be done after material planning is done. So that's the difference using forward and backward. So at this stage, while planning MRP, you're going to plan as well as get the schedule. Okay. So now, so usually if you are planning something today, I mean, it automatically starts from tomorrow, provided tomorrow there is availability of the machine, or else you can have option to select the start date. You can select the production start date. So you can see this is directly tomorrow. Okay. So this is one thing, and we'll take care of order number 14, 13, 14, which are backward. Okay. Now this is how planning is taken care. So once the planning is done, we are going to release the order. So release is nothing but, so planning can be done advance, and this release based on the status of release. So we'll have option to issue raw material against that order. I'll take this order. You need not to get into that. So if you want to completely release, you will just select the order and release it. Or else if you want to partially do some release, so get into this and you can release how many quantity you want to, let's say 50, and let's say accordingly. Okay, so you can release it from here. So now next step will be issues to production. So we have got this is ERP issues to production. Issue to production. Okay. So here you will get only orders which are released. Okay, not all the orders, because 13 is released, 14, 15 are released. Rest of all not shown. So you will get process wise. You can issue. To see in which warehouse you have. Let's finish stop for this. Let me check the warehouse. I'm checking which warehouse. Just open the next one, which has stock in raw material warehouse. Here, if you can see the stock, if it is available, then it auto loads, and you have got 3 columns: available stock, clear stock, okay, and already issued and remaining quantity. So what it does is, like, available stock is stock which is available and reserved for this order. Okay, clear stock is from the total stock. What is the stock which is uh, exclusive of all other reservations happened against different production orders. So you can issue up to 440 more than what is planned. Okay, and here if you can see already issued quantity you don't have, so remaining quantity you can just see the total remaining quantity. So by default system is going to load you the information, load you the quantity which needs to be issued along with the reference order number and process information. Okay, I'm just issuing it. So this will be issued and posting an entry into ERP, and which is nothing but issues to production. So that again will be depending on which voucher you are selecting in the preferences. So I'll take you to the issues to production of ERP, and entry is posted against production order 15 with the raw material. So all the process information, reference order number, everything is there. Now, once the raw material is issued, we are going to receive the production. So in order to get the data, so you can just select the date. So all the production orders which are to be received within the selected date would list. So I'm just selecting this. Okay. Okay. Here we are going to select warehouse. Warehouse raw material, whichever it is. Okay, you can select. That's a 70. Okay, it is showing it is not release full quantity. You can decide. And on this, to simultaneously, I would like to show you some other configuration which is related to QC, because this is interlinked directly. It can be raised. Okay, but each and every voucher, any voucher, if you want to enable QC, you can do that. Okay, only thing is you have to select this option, enable QC. Earlier in the Windows application, we used to, if automatic QC need to be done, we used to have it in the routing. So now we have given separately in the voucher level. So whichever voucher you want to enable QC, on saving up that voucher, automatically a requisition will be raised. Let's see the release total 150. So we have partially released. So let me release total. Okay. Let's see. You can see the rest is in the total quantity. So once you are receiving the total quantity as per the plan, so it will ask you, do you want to close automatically? So it means that you are expecting no more output to be received for the month. So you can click and save. I've already generated. I've already configured a QC document to be raised automatically, and now a quantity with voucher number 7 is been posted into ERP. Here you can see. And I would like to show you the issue value as well as receipt value and the calculation of cost for this. So this is I have issued into two vouchers, 3,500, and you can see 3,500. Yes, 800. So the total issue value was 7,000, 3,500, and 3,500, and you can see the excess cost, which is nothing but 840 is cost of the product. So that we can see. I'll just open the routing and show you the concept of how it got calculated. Then I'll show you in the report. So lower seat, we have got two process. So my first process, 5 rupees, 2 is labor, and overhead is 3. So for the first process. In the second process, it is overall 7, 2 plus 5. So 5 plus 7, 12 per piece is going to add into the cost of the production. So 12 into I have produced 70, so which is nothing but 840 overall. So the rate will be calculated with respect to the raw material cost plus production cost. So if you want to view and post this into multiple columns, we have an option. So raw material cost is 7,000 and capacity cost is 840. That can be configured and it can be provided in a separate columns. Yeah. Okay. This is one costing is done, and moving on to the QC. So I'll just start with showing a requisition. So it got already raised for 70 quantity now. So I'll take you there. Okay, so we didn't. Okay, test definition. I didn't define test for level 6. Okay, see here if you can see. So I've got one test for item one. This is one test for quality of item one I have created, and test for finishing chair. I have created two tests only. I have not defined for the intermediate. Let me complete receipt from production of main item, then we can do that. You can also select multiple warehouses. So wherever stock is there, you can just issue. Okay. So in this, if you can see, I have got all this 15. So it is 20. Okay. So now I've got one more order, one more process wherein I need to issue raw material for that. Let me issue and receive the finished goods, then we can do the QC part 7. Now issues has been done. So I'm selecting the production order shift as well as process where I'm receiving the item. I'm receiving some partial quantity. There, 10 pieces. So if you are receiving less quantity and less than the planned quantity, system will not ask you to close. If there is any chance that you are expecting only less quantity than planned quantity, you have to manually close. Then whatever the issue value is been done against this production order will be considered as total value for the receiving quantity. Now I'll take you to this requisition. Just I'll show you this requisition. So here you can see the requisition number is auto-generated the moment you post receipt from production transaction. Okay, test for finishing chair. So this is the this is total check. So it's got raised. So today's date. Okay, this is all information. Now I'll move on to the testing cycle. So how we have defined and why how to proceed with the flow. So test definition, like you're going to define your test. Let's say name a test. So what type of test it is, sample check or total check. Whether the sample size to be considered in percentage or in value. Okay. So percentage means the more it depends on like the quantity you are producing, or maybe you are inverting or outputting, whatever document you can do it. So accordingly, the percentage, the sample size keeps on increasing with the value of the document. So if it is fixed, irrespective of the value of the document, it will ask you to check only 1 piece, 2 pieces, 10 pieces, 20 pieces, a value. Okay. Even if this is coming to the, let's say if your sample size, you say that 15%. If that 15% is coming to 1.5 or something in decimals, then it will take you to the nearest round of value, whether it is nearest floor, ceiling. These are the three options we have for sample size only. Okay, if your sample size calculation as per 15% is coming to 12.9, so you cannot check 12.9 chairs, so it will take you 13 or 14, 12, so depending. Okay, and you have got failed warehouse, passed warehouse, and allotted. Failed warehouse means if something after QC, if your result is failed, so it automatically moves your inventory from QC test warehouse to the failed warehouse. Similarly, if it is passed, then it will move to the passed warehouse. So we suggest you to, whenever you are making an inward document or whenever you are making a receipt from production, you make sure that you select the warehouse as QC performing warehouse or QC warehouse. So after the QC result is done, so it accordingly moves to the pass. If it is passed, it will move on to the pass warehouse. If it is failed, it will move the inventory to the failed warehouse. So that from there you can continue your transactions. If it is passed after production, then delivery node. Okay, so you can just move on to that transactions. So you configure in such way. Okay, this is the definition. So I'm selecting the parameter. What is the minimum maximum parameter of this, and what is the pass range within the min max? Okay, for this product, okay, for a product, okay, I have mentioned here it is 12. Okay, for this test. So after this, we need to map test to items. So we have added some new functionality here for Delhi based client. So what it does is that, so you can have a sequence of tests here. You can have, so you can define, you can attach multiple tests to this as well as sequence. I'll just add one more test so that we can have a sequence number in there. Test something I'm doing here. Total check. So total check, there won't be any sample size nearest and all. So we see fail warehouse, we see pass warehouse, qualitative to sample, see executive, the time into hours. Let's see. I'm just taking grade. Length again. Let's say this is a type. Okay. Here I have taken, let's say, 15. Now I have created a test. Now I'm going to map this test to the same one. Okay. So I'll say chair to map test to test name. Here I'm adding a new test. Okay. And I can make whether it is mandatory or not, or how my sequence should be. So test for finishing is 1, and this is automatically coming as 2. You can just keep on changing this. Okay. So what it does, like if you are making any sequence. So if let's say you have got multiple tests, so you have got sequence. If you are trying to do a different sequence number, you are trying to do test of third person, I mean third sequence. System will say there are 2 more tests prior to this, so that is not yet done. So you can do this test only after those previous tests, because what happens is company can define that a sequence of tests. If test 1 is failed, there is no need for them to go for testing of 2 and 3. So in that case, like if a product is having multiple set of tests to be performed, so it will be useful. And even then, you can make certain tests to be mandatory and certain tests not to be mandatory. So in that case, you can ignore the sequence if it is not mandatory. Okay. And here map test to the product and map test to items. This is items to test and this is test to items. So you have both ways. And the third thing is requisition. So as I said, requisition. So this can be a manual or automated. So we have already got an automated requisition. So we'll just perform QC for that. Okay. Now we have got 2 types of checks. One is total check, which we raised now, and one is sample check. Sample check, I'll show you total check transaction. So what is the item for which you wanted to test? And out of this, what are the open QC requisitions? Okay. Now I've got QC requisition 4. Now I'm testing. So what is the test name? So there may be multiple tests in that requisition, so you need to select the test name. So automatically, if I have got 10 pieces and it is of total check So you will get 10 rows created automatically. Okay, let us suppose it is in case of 100,000 like that. So what in that case, usually what they do is either company can individually give a value. Let's say this is fail. Okay, this is pass. Sorry, this is pass. So either it can be like this. So what is the pass range? 12 to 12.4. So this is pass range. Okay, automatically it should. Or else what they can do is they can enter results on in a bulk. So total quantity is 10. So I wanted to fail, let's say 2. So system will automatically load the pass ranges and fail ranges as per the total result what you are entering. This is a shortcut kind of thing, because some customers say that, so if my pass value is fixed, only if it is 10, then only it should pass. Other than 10, it is failed. Then I'll just enter how many are failed and I'll save the document. So now I have got two things, 2 quantities failed, 8 quantities passed. So now it is asking enter the value of who checked. So you can, I define like I'm selecting for QC manager. So now the total check is saved. Okay. So now after a QC is done for the total check, what need to be done? You have to make a quantity breakup. So quantity breakup is nothing but you are just bifurcating where to send your pass quantity and into which warehouse you are sending fail quantity along with the reasons. Here it is asking select QC stock transfer voucher and preferences. Okay. There are some preferences to be added. Quality control. So this is something like what is the voucher you want to make a stock transfer. Okay, now this done. I'll just log out the model. And breakup. So it is opening. So acquisition number is 4. So you can see quantity passed is 8, quantity failed is 2. Now you can mention a reason. So reason is a simple master again. You need to create in the masters you have got and QC. The failure reasons. Reasons are basically failure reasons only. Okay, let's say R1 is my first reason. So you can name your full-fledged reasons. R2, R2, the second reason. Now in the quantity breakup column, what I'll do is I am failing one quantity for reason 1 and the other quantity is reason 2. So this is where okay. If you want by default it will come, or else you can just select it. And if you want to close production order, you can close. I'm just making some comments and upload to that. So
Naveen, your audio is gradually going down, and now it's totally inaudible.
Okay, is it okay, sir? I am using my head.
You are speaking, we can hear you, but the voice
okay,
is so low. In fact, there have been complaints, but I was like thinking it's okay, we can manage somehow. But now it has gone down so low that it's totally inaudible.
Is it okay, sir? Now, actually, I'm using earphones, so maybe it is.
Make it very clear so that people can hear.
Yeah.
Or you be a little bit louder.
Okay, sir. Okay, now it is like we have done the transaction. Now, when you get into the receipt from production, so it automatically posts stock transfer as well as stock transfer.
You had your lunch?
No, sir.
That's why. It's 4 o'clock. I hope you had breakfast.
Yes, yes. Okay. Now you can see, you see fail warehouse 1, and this is pass. Okay, it got clustered into respective warehouses and quantity. So because we have
Naveen,
selected.
no, your voice is not clear, Naveen.
Is it clear now? Hello.
When you are saying like it is clear, but when you flow, it is.
I'll speak a bit louder, sir. Okay, so here it got posted like we have selected multiple reasons, so it is posting in multiple lines because reason wise it is posting. Okay, and here you can see QC passed, so it is 8 quantity. So overall it will be distributed into respective warehouses, and you can check that in your stock ledger. So this is one flow of planning an automatic MRP integrated with a QC. And when it comes to QC for the an inward document, let's say material requisition, so you can go to any of the document you want. Okay, so cross check if you have already set enable QC in that. Okay, I have already enabled, so I'll add a material requisition and make sure for whichever item you want to raise automatic QC, there is a QC already definition already done. Okay, now I have already raised the test definition for item 1. Just okay, I am adding a material requisition, a new manual material requisition for item 1. Okay, I'm making some 100 pieces, so rate 20. So here you can see the moment you enable QC, these columns will come. So here you have to give QC due date, maybe again something, any proper date. And once you reopen on saving, and when you reopen this, you can see it is under inspection. Okay, so once the QC is done, this inspection will be updated with respective test results. Okay, let's say we'll move on to requisition again. Automatic requisition is raised from inward document. So you can see here. So here this has a sample size. This is of type sample. I wanted to show you this, so I have created. And I here, if you can see, there is one information tab coming as empty. So this is nothing but like if you wanted to define any, I mean, if you want to customize information voucher fields, you can add it there. I'll take you to the QC inspection, which is nothing but sample check screen. Selecting item 1. So with the item name, you are going to get all the open requisitions of that item. Okay, and you have got test name to be selected and warehouse. So in which warehouse you are doing all this thing. Okay, and grade C. Here, if you can see for sample check, you are going to provide the result on the whole sample. So if based on the sample test result, the total lot will be either failed or passed. So 5 to 6, I'm just making 5. Okay, it is automatically passed. So here you are going to give test one who is tested by like QC executive. So let's fail so that I can show you the next step also. Let me fail something. Okay, I'm giving 7. So it is failed. So it is tested by QC executive. Okay, checked by maybe supervisor, someone. Can select one more. Okay. So I purposefully failing this sample check. If it is passed, then my requisition will be closed at this level, and I'm going to update my inventory with the passed quantity. Okay, do you want to close the requisition? So I don't want to close. Okay, now it is modify test result. So modify test result, I'll go because it is failed. So if I want to modify, usually what happens, so QC department or QC executive will only cross check the value as per the books. Let's say if there is any manageable values, so from which you want to pass pass it from failed status, you can do. A production manager can do this. Can be I mean, given by user some authorization. Okay, Earlier, the original result is failed. Now I can make it pass with some comments. Okay, comments are mandatory. And in the modified test results, if the manager wants to see what is the test result as per the executive, so he should have that information. He can view from here only. Okay, what was the test result from the done by the QC executive? So my pass range was from 5 to 6. So the result was 7. So it is failed. Okay, fine. I wanted to pass it now. Okay, now it got passed. Okay, now when you go to material requisition, okay, usually it will be completed passed. So I'll check this. So the status will get updated here. Okay, you can see the warehouse stocks accordingly. So the stock transfer we have already seen. So this is the integration between QC module as well as MRP flow. So MRP flow, see, I have shown only automatic planning. So we have got a new version, rather to say a new vertical of MRP2 which handles manual. So their scheduling will be done by the user as per his convenience based on the availability of the machine. If you want to have an overview, just I'll take you through, or if you want to see that in detail, because it's a new new development we have done for another customer in Saudi, so we can see in detail. Sir, how you want me to do? Just a overview, just one transaction. Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sir. So I'll directly show in the ANDA company the same client backup itself. I'll run one sample transaction. I'll show you how the planning happens. So before that, there are certain things need to be considered: how a mold is entered, how it should be linked with the master. Okay, so I'll just explain you that. So let's say I've got mold master. So mold and die, like it is used in extrusion or all these industries, you might be used to those kind of words. Okay, now what happens is in the mold you are going to define for which item this mold belongs to. Okay, so what is the item this particular mold makes, and what is the cavity of the mold, what is the cycle time of this particular mold. So I'll explain you. Cavity is nothing but a mold. How many pieces, like how many cavity of outputs we are going to get. So there will be some dies with two cavities. It means that at a time I'm going to get two pieces of output. Sometimes 10 cavities, one cavity. That is cavity. Okay. So number of holes in the die, which is nothing but the cavity, and cycle time. So one shot of the die production. So how much time it is going to take. So it means like if it is three cavity, if I am making, this is in seconds, whatever we are defining will be in seconds. If I am giving 60 here and three cavity, it means that in 1 minute I'm going to get three outputs. So this is how it works internally, the calculation. Okay, and and we can have our own extra fields for this, like estimated repair charge. All these are extra fields added to the customer. Okay, so only thing we need to consider is cavity, cycle time, item name for which this mold is used for, and we have option to link to the work center as a machine. So this mold fits into what machines, list of machines. Let's say this mold can be used in machine 1, machine 2, machine 3. So whenever you are planning, you will have an option to choose combination with mold and machine. So if I choose mold 1 on machine 2, what might be the cycle time? Okay, if I choose the same thing, so if it is depending on the machine, so you can have the difference, and you can have multiple selections also. Okay, so this is the only thing additional to the work center master, you will have a mold master. And here in the process master, so we have one setting. I'll just run through the basic settings, how it should be used. Okay, I'll take you to the injection molding operation. So here in the process, you have to select apply mold filter. So if you select this process, if you select this option, for whenever you are selecting that specific process in the routing, so it is going to plan manually with respect to the mold filter. And you have got a capacity filter also, that is like it's a different aspect. Like what we can do is, so when we are planning a work center, let's say this is specifically used in ovens. Okay, I wanted to heat something, so or heat treatment should be done. So heat treatment, usually what happens, it will be done based on the oven capacity. So my oven capacity is, let's say, 5 tons. I've got different products. I can use it simultaneously. Multiple products can be heat treated in a same oven. But for my machine, I'll make sure that out of 5 tons of capacity, minimum it should fill 3 tons of capacity. So I will not allow my planning to be done less than that. So that is the capacity planning for the oven, I mean for the machine to run. So that's a different concept. It is not included for ANDA. It is for some other customer we have done. Okay. Now routing and bill of material routing is common, like it is same. So there is no specific changes here. So I'll run through one MRP planning and I'll show you how the scheduling happens. So I'll take one order and pick one order if I have, I don't know. Okay, I've got one order. Luckily, it's a solo. The item name is solo. So I'm making the lots breaker. So I've got some huge quantity, maybe 1,000 I'm making. 10,000. So ANDA is basically they manufacture plastic items, toys, different items related to plastic industry. Okay, if you can see, there is no schedule happening here. Okay, this manual scheduling is purely a forward one, so it will not support for backward. Okay, now I'm just exploring the bill of material and I'm just planning the material. So my material got planned, so what has been adjusted, what has been erased will be done after my planning is done. So it is a huge hierarchy, so it is taking time. You can see nothing is something is adjusted here, something is raised. So you can see raw material, this is raised, this is adjusted. Okay, so we'll look into the planning part now. So my production order is you can see the last number is 99, MO some sequence is 99. Okay, now I'll have manual scheduling. And you can look into the date ranges of planning, and when you click on get details, it will load all the orders which need to be scheduled. Okay, for now we have a plan 99, so you can see this is 99 what we have planned. So under this I have got two child items. Okay, 99 is the parent item. For solo we have planned, and internally there are two child items, 7.3 cover and 7.3 body. These are the three items, two child items used to make solo. So so you have to schedule one by one. So if you try to schedule the finished product, system will give you a message that unless until the child items are scheduled, you cannot do this schedule. Okay, so now I'm going to schedule for 100 anything. So in this two you can these are independent items, so you can schedule anything because it is not using the same. Now if you can see, it is showing you the work center details, injection 350, the mold 7.3 body. Okay, this has only one combination. In the next for the next product I have got multiple combinations. I'll show you that. Okay, you can see the cavity cycle time. So for 1,000 quantity, what is the time taken? If it is 45 seconds for one with one quantity for one product, so for 10,000 it is taking 125 hours. Okay, and you can select this. System is suggesting you with respect to the forward scheduling tomorrow. Okay, so it may or may not be possible. If you wanted to push it, or if you wanted to change it manually, you can see this. Okay, I'm just selecting the change option. So just 17th it was suggesting me. Now you can see it is starting on 17th. Okay, from the last shift. Okay, now I can just drag and drop. So wherever you want. I wanted to drop here. We'll get a message. Do you want to change? Okay. So change the schedule from start date to end date. Okay. So if you select yes, then it moves to the next one. Okay, you can see here it moved to the next consecutive days. As per your selection, from 17th I moved to 25th. Okay. Now, if you click on OK, so it is changed now. You can see. So it is starting from 20. It is all changed. Now you can just select and save. Okay, that is saved. So you have changed the schedule there. Now you can see the 101 order, which has multiple combinations. You can see injection 160A, injection 160B, injection 160C. So these are the three possible machines I have, wherein I can put this mold. So you can see 7.3 cover with the combination of 168, 7.3 cover same mold name they have created with the product name. So it is with the three combinations. So here they have all sets equal, but if you have different cavities for different cycle time on different machines, like you can just have a different schedule. Sometimes what happens, you will have multiple molds also. Mold 1 will make same item, mold 2 will also make same item. Mold 1 fits on some of the machines, mold 2 fits on some of them. So in that scenario, you'll get multiple options. You can just select whichever you want. So if you don't want to make any change, okay, so you can just select which machine you wanted to schedule and say save. Now you have got one more option. So split schedule. So you wanted to schedule something on this and something on this. Automatically it will adjust it quantity, let's say 5,000. Okay, in the other machine, mold should not be overlap. Okay, mold is overlap. Okay, so same time it will not overlap. First you can change. So if it works only with the different molds. So multiple molds. So I'll select one. Now, when you are planning for the final item, you can see this is scheduling automatically after the first two schedules are done, because the child items need to be available, only then this schedule can be possible. So it is automatically showing you second move. You can just push it forward. Okay. And if you wanted to see production hierarchy, you can just have a look. Okay, some real will say. Okay, so what exactly this functionality is that? So it will show you the schedules of the below items, child items. So that item and below items. This is how you are going to schedule. So after schedule is done, only then you can release. Let's say if you are trying to release, here we have got 96. Let's say if you are trying to release production order 96, it will say to, it will ask you to schedule. Okay. Schedule not done for this order, can't be released. So you cannot release. It's a restriction. Until unless manual scheduling is done, you cannot release. And also dependent requirements will be raised with respect to the schedule what you have done. So initially when you are planning, it will raise only for the quantity, but not the dependent requirement. Then after it will raise, there is no dependent, we have stopped. So if you, the dependent requirement, the start date or a required date will be with respect to the manual scheduling what you have done. So this is the difference, and moreover, like we need to understand how to define the mold and the process, whether it is a in-house process, manual scheduling process with respect to mold, or it's an individual. So even individual assembly process was individual, but that too it will be manual only. So whether it is depending on mold or whether it is not independent of mold, we need to define at the time of definition of the process. This is the major change in terms of functionality in MRP we have added. We are working on something which is already available in the Windows version, but it is not available, not completed in Thin Client. It is under development, which is process time tracker. Now, all the way we were seeing only planning, releasing, issue, and receipts. There will be some activities which we wanted to make note during the process. So let's say I've got 3 processes. My planning was from 10 to 11, but when did I actually start? Who has worked on this? How much production quantity is been, let's say if I got any intermediate, what is the intermediate production I have actually made? So all these things we are keeping track in process time tracker. This process time tracker, I think we have already seen in the Windows version. So how does it work is that whenever you are selecting a production order, it is not completely developed. Whenever you select a production order and process name, it will show you the planned start date. Now user will enter this. So this entry we have given manual option by selecting the calendar date and time or a barcode scanner. So if you scan, we will generate a job card with a barcode on that. If you scan that, automatically the production order and process name will come into this screens, and you will only need to enter the click the start button. So this will you overwrite, like we can overcome of manual entries mistakes, something like that. Okay. Also, some labor was some employee was planned to work on that machine. Some other actually work. So you can also add employees, multiple employees. You can at the time of planning you might have given it for team A. Now team B is working with different employee sets. So that can be made more. So process wise, who all work can be added to which operation, because the process name, you can say employee, you can select the employee name code and the operation code will be automatically loaded. And here you will have the just a view of the output of that product. So this is an overview I want to explain in Thin Client we are adding. Okay. Replanning is something we have, which is almost done. Okay. So what happens is replanning when there is already, you have already planned. Okay. And when there is any change in terms of due date or a order quantity, these are the two possibilities we might change our planning. And the third category would be there is a machine breakdown. So that comes for rescheduling. So when there is a machine breakdown and you want to replan it, it is rescheduling. So when it is a change in the due date of the customer, so initially you plan for 10th May. Now customer change, I don't want to have it on 10th May, I want it on let's say 10th June. So I need not to plan it before, produce and plan and produce it before that time. So I will replan. So replanning is same as MRP. Only thing is it will ask you whether to replan. That's it. I'll just share you the screenshots and document if required on that. So, but I can't show you in the Thin Client document. So these are the 2 points which are missing. Like we can have one more session, a quick brief session, or I can share a video how it works once it is completed.
Are there any reports that you can show?
Sir, reports like yes, sir. So reports we have basic reports, not specific with respect to MRP. So production order status reports. So all the reports have been, I mean, fiscal reports only we are working on. For the production orders. So default reports are all the default reports what we have in MRP. So production module are there.